The alarms blared through the compact quarters of the Stellar Voyager, jolting Isaac Davis awake from a fitful sleep. His heart hammered against his ribs, more from the shrill warning than from whatever nightmare had plagued him moments before. Red emergency lights pulsed across the metallic walls of his sleeping pod, bathing everything in an ominous glow. Something was wrong with the ship, or worse with him. Warning: medical emergency detected in Pod 7C. Occupant vitals critical. Medical assistance dispatched, announced the ship's AI in its emotionless voice. Isaac fumbled to sit up, his vision blurring as a wave of dizziness crashed over him. The room seemed to spin, and a thundering pulse pounded in his ears. What the hell? He muttered, pressing a hand to his sweaty forehead. He'd never experienced anything like this before. The headache that threatened to split his skull, the pressure building behind his eyes, the sensation that his heart might burst from his chest. The door to his pod slid open with a pneumatic hiss, and two figures rushed in. Even through his foggy vision, Isaac could tell they weren't human. The taller one had bluish skin that seemed to shimmer under the emergency lights, with 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern on its elongated face. The second was shorter, with gray-green skin and 6 slender arms moving in perfect coordination as it pushed a floating medical cart. "Patient appears conscious but disoriented," said the taller alien in accented English. "Zekara, prepare the stabilizer." Isaac tried to speak, but his tongue felt heavy in his mouth. "I'm fine," he managed to say, though the words sounded slurred even to his own ears. The taller alien clearly the doctor approached and placed something cold against Isaac's temple. It beeped rapidly. "Your blood pressure is sky high," the alien doctor said, concern evident in all 4 of its eyes. Isaac attempted a weak smile. "That's hypertension," he replied, surprising himself with this moment of clarity amidst his confusion. The alien doctor tilted his head. "Yes, dangerously severe hypertension. 220 over 140. Your species typically functions at approximately 120 over 80, correct?" Isaac tried to nod, but the movement sent another wave of dizziness through him. "Something's not right," he mumbled as darkness began to creep in from the edges of his vision. "He's going into hypertensive crisis," the doctor told his assistant. "We need to get him to medical bay immediately. Human cardiovascular systems are fragile." Isaac felt himself being lifted onto the floating stretcher, the cool surface a stark contrast to his overheated skin. As they rushed him through the corridors of the Stellar Voyager, the ceiling lights streaked past in a blur. He tried to piece together what could have happened. He'd felt fine yesterday, tired after his shift in engineering, but nothing unusual. He'd eaten dinner in the mess hall, chatted with a few crewmates, then turned in early. The medical bay doors parted automatically, revealing a large circular room filled with technology that was both familiar and alien. Several medical personnel, a mix of human and extraterrestrial, looked up as they entered. "Doctor Vexus, we have an urgent human case," announced the alien doctor as they transferred Isaac to a diagnostic bed. "Hypertensive crisis, risk of stroke or cardiac event imminent." A human doctor rushed over Dr. Sarah Chen, according to her name tag. She began examining Isaac while conversing with the alien physician. "Thank you, Dr. Nylox. When did symptoms present?" she asked, checking Isaac's pupils with a penlight. "Ship AI detected dangerous vital signs approximately 7 minutes ago. Patient demonstrates confusion, headache, visual disturbances based on tracking response." Isaac tried to focus on Dr. Chen's face. "Something's wrong," he managed to say. "Didn't have high blood pressure before." Dr. Chen nodded. "You're right, Isaac. Your last physical showed completely normal readings. This is acute onset." She turned to a nearby nurse. "Let's start him on Roman 4 labetalol to bring his pressure down gradually." As they worked around him, Isaac's thoughts drifted to his role on the ship. As one of the few human engineers aboard the Stellar Voyager, humanity's first joint interstellar mission with the Galactic Coalition, he'd been responsible for interfacing human technology with alien systems. The ship had been traveling for 3 years now, heading toward a potentially habitable exoplanet in the Proxima Centauri system. A cool sensation spread up his arm as medication entered his veins. Gradually, the pounding in his head began to subside and his vision cleared slightly. "Better, doctor?" Chen asked, monitoring his vitals on a holographic display above the bed. "A little," Isaac replied, his speech less slurred now. "What's happening to me?" Dr. Nylock stepped forward, all four eyes blinking in sequence, a gesture Isaac had learned indicated deep thought among the Zolosian species. "Your condition appeared suddenly, with no previous indications of cardiovascular issues," the alien physician noted. "This suggests an external trigger rather than chronic disease." Dr. Chen nodded in agreement. "We need to run a full toxicology screen and check for environmental exposures." "Isaac, did you encounter anything unusual in the past 24 hours? New foods, areas of the ship you don't typically visit, contact with unfamiliar materials?" Isaac tried to think through the fog that still partially clouded his mind. Nothing unusual, regular shift in engineering. "Dinner in the mess, usual food and drinks. What about your work? Any new systems or materials?" Dr. Nylox asked. "We've been calibrating the quantum resonance chambers for the past week, but that's routine maintenance," Isaac replied. Then a thought struck him. "Wait. Yesterday I had to replace a damaged coupling in the auxiliary system. It required opening a sealed compartment that hadn't been accessed since the ship was built." Both doctors exchanged glances. Dr. Chen turned to a nurse. "I want air quality readings from Engineering Section 5, specifically around the auxiliary systems. And get me a complete catalog of all materials used in those sealed compartments." As the medical team worked, Isaac's condition stabilized. His blood pressure, while still elevated, had dropped to safer levels. The headache receded to a dull throb and he could think more clearly. "We're going to keep you here for observation," Dr. Chen informed him. "The medication seems to be working, but we need to identify the cause." Isaac nodded, suddenly feeling exhausted. Could it be affecting others? There were 2 other engineers working with me yesterday. "We're checking on all personnel who access that area," Dr. Nylox assured him. "So far, no other cases have been reported." As Isaac rested, the medical team continued their investigation. Hours passed, and he drifted in and out of sleep, each time waking to find either Dr. Chen or Dr. Nylox monitoring his progress. During one such awakening, he found Dr. Nylox studying a holographic display with intense concentration. "Find anything?" Isaac asked, his voice stronger now. The alien doctor turned, surprise evident in his four-eyed gaze. "You're awake. Yes, we believe we have identified the cause of your condition." Dr. Chen entered the room carrying a tablet. The air quality tests came back. There were trace amounts of a compound called zeptilium oxide in the sealed compartment you accessed. It's used as a bonding agent in some of the ship's original construction. "Is it toxic?" Isaac asked, concern evident in his voice. "Not to most species," Dr. Nylox explained. "However, it appears that human physiology has a unique reaction to it. The compound binds to certain receptors in your vascular system, causing extreme constriction of blood vessels." Dr. Chen continued, "Essentially, it triggered a massive spike in your blood pressure by making your blood vessels tighten up. It's remarkable you didn't suffer a stroke or heart attack." Isaac processed this information. "What about the other engineers? Martinez and Wang were with me." "They showed very mild elevation in blood pressure, nothing like yours," Dr. Chen said. "It seems there may be a genetic component to the sensitivity. Your DNA shows markers that make you particularly vulnerable to this compound." "Lucky me," Isaac mumbled. "So what now?" "The good news is that now that we've identified the cause, we can treat it effectively," Dr. Nylox said. "The compound has a half-life of approximately 72 hours in human systems. We'll continue medication to control your blood pressure during that time and monitor for any complications." Dr. Chen added, "Engineering has already sealed off that section and is working on neutralizing the zeptilium oxide." Captain Hernandez has ordered a ship-wide check for any other areas that might contain the compound. Isaac nodded, relief washing over him. What about long-term effects? Based on our analysis, once the compound is fully cleared from your system, there should be no permanent damage, Dr. Nylox assured him. However, we will want to conduct follow-up examinations to be certain. Over the next few days, Isaac remained in the medical bay under observation. His blood pressure gradually returned to normal levels as the medication and his body's natural processes cleared the alien compound from his system. During this time, he received visits from fellow crew members, including Captain Hernandez, who assured him that safety protocols were being updated to prevent similar incidents. On the fourth day, Dr. Nylox performed a final examination before discharge. Your cardiovascular system has returned to normal human parameters, the alien physician announced, satisfaction evident in his voice. It is fascinating how resilient your species can be, Isaac smiled. We've had to evolve that way. Earth isn't always the friendliest place, Doctor. Nylox's upper eyes blinked in what Isaac had learned was a sign of amusement. Perhaps not as challenging as some worlds in the Coalition, but impressive nonetheless. He made some notes on his medical pad. I have been researching human hypertension since your incident. It is a common chronic condition among your people, yes. Unfortunately, yes, Isaac confirmed. My grandfather had it for years, had to take medication daily. Fascinating that your body can naturally develop a condition that nearly killed you when induced by an external agent, Doctor. Nylox observed, medicine is truly a universal frontier. As Isaac prepared to return to his quarters, Captain Hernandez arrived for a final briefing. Engineer Davis, good to see you back on your feet, the captain said. I wanted to update you personally. We've identified 7 other areas on the ship that contain zeptilium oxide. All have been either sealed or the compound neutralized. Thank you, Captain, Isaac replied. What about other humans on board? Should they be tested for the genetic marker that made me sensitive? Already underway, Hernandez confirmed. Dr. Chen and Dr. Nylox have developed a screening protocol. So far, they've identified 3 other crew members with similar genetic markers. They'll be restricted from accessing any areas where even trace amounts might remain. Isaac nodded. I'd like to help with the engineering solutions, if possible. Maybe we can develop better detection systems or protective gear. I was hoping you'd say that, the captain said with a smile. Once Dr. Nylox clears you for duty, report to Chief Engineer Kovacs. Your experience makes you uniquely qualified to lead this project. After being released from the medical bay, Isaac took a day to rest in his quarters. The incident had left him more fatigued than he expected, his body still recovering from the strain. As he lay on his bunk, he reflected on the strange twist of fate that had nearly killed him, but might now help protect others. The next morning, feeling refreshed, Isaac reported to engineering. Chief Kovacs, a tall, slender alien with metallic skin that reflected the lights of the engine room, greeted him with a formal salute, a gesture the chief had adopted from human military traditions. Engineer Davis, welcome back, Kovacs said, his voice resonating with a slight metallic quality. Your insight will be valuable in developing new safety protocols. Isaac nodded. Thank you, Chief. I've been thinking about potential solutions during my recovery. Kovacs led him to a workstation where several engineers, both human and alien, were already gathered. Among them was Wang, one of the engineers who had been with Isaac when he was exposed. Davis, good to see you upright, Wang said, relief evident in her expression. You gave us quite a scare. Scared myself too, Isaac admitted. Have you been checked for the genetic marker? Wang nodded. I'm clear, fortunately. Martinez too, but Specialist Johnson from Communications tested positive. He's already been briefed on restricted areas. Over the next several hours, the team worked on developing new detection systems specifically calibrated to identify zeptilium oxide, even in minute quantities. Isaac found himself in the unique position of being both an engineer and a test case, providing valuable information about his exposure and symptoms. The compound is particularly difficult to detect because it's designed to integrate seamlessly with various materials, explained Teller, a Vorsian engineer with 8 fingers on each hand, perfectly evolved for delicate technical work. That's why standard atmospheric sensors missed it. What if we modify the sensors to look for the specific resonance pattern? Isaac suggested. When I was working with the coupling, I noticed a slight vibration that seemed unusual. I didn't think much of it at the time, but what if that was the zeptilium oxide? Colvax's metallic features shifted in what Isaac recognized as the chief's equivalent of raised eyebrows. An interesting theory. The compound might create a unique vibrational signature when exposed to certain frequencies. The team immediately began testing this hypothesis, and by the end of the day, they had developed a prototype sensor that could detect even trace amounts of the compound. Captain Hernandez approved an immediate production run to equip all engineering teams and update the ship's environmental monitoring systems. 2 weeks after his medical emergency, Isaac found himself back in the medical bay, this time for a scheduled follow-up examination. Dr. Nylox conducted a thorough scan of his cardiovascular system. Remarkable, the alien physician commented as he reviewed the results. Your blood pressure is now 118/76, perfectly normal by human standards. No signs of any lasting damage to your heart or blood vessels. Isaac nodded, relieved. I've been feeling completely normal, no headaches, no dizziness. The new detection systems your team developed have been most effective, Dr. Nylox added. We've identified and neutralized all known sources of zeptilium oxide on the ship. Your experience, while unfortunate, has potentially saved others from similar incidents. As Isaac prepared to leave, Dr. Nylox held up one of his 3-fingered hands. One moment, Engineer Davis, there is something I wish to discuss with you. Isaac paused. Is something wrong? Not wrong, exactly. Your genetic sensitivity to zeptilium oxide led me to conduct additional research into human cardiovascular responses. I believe I may have developed a new treatment approach for chronic hypertension in humans, one that could potentially replace daily medication with a monthly treatment. Isaac's eyes widened. That would be incredible. My grandfather had to take pills every day for decades, Doctor. Nylox's 4 eyes blinked in sequence, his species equivalent of a smile. I have submitted my research to both the Coalition Medical Board and your Earth's Global Health Organization. They have expressed interest in clinical trials. All because I nearly died from sky-high blood pressure, Isaac said with a wry smile. Indeed. In medicine, sometimes our greatest advances come from unexpected crises, Dr. Nylox replied. Your human saying necessity is the mother of invention applies across species, it seems. As Isaac left the medical bay, he reflected on the strange journey of the past few weeks. What had started as a life-threatening medical emergency had led to improved safety protocols for the entire ship and potentially a medical breakthrough for millions of hypertension sufferers back on Earth. The Stellar Voyager continued its journey toward Proxima Centauri, carrying its diverse crew farther from Earth than humans had ever traveled before. The incident had reinforced what the mission was truly about: different species working together, learning from each other, even from their biological differences and vulnerabilities. 6 months later, Isaac stood in the observation deck, gazing at the distant stars. The Proxima Centauri system was visible now, still small, but growing larger each day as they approached. Behind him, the door slid open, and he turned to see Dr. Nylox enter. Engineer Davis, I thought I might find you here, the alien physician said, moving to stand beside him at the viewport. Doctor, good to see you, Isaac replied, just taking in the view. Hard to believe we're actually going to arrive in a few months. Dr. Nylox's 4 eyes blinked as he looked out at the stars. Indeed, a historic journey for all our species. He turned to face Isaac. I received news from Earth today that I thought you should hear first. Isaac raised an eyebrow. Oh, the clinical trials for the hypertension treatment derived from our research have been completed. The results are extremely promising: 94% efficacy with minimal side effects. The Global Health Organization has approved it for general use. Isaac felt a wave of emotion wash over him. That's amazing. Millions of people will benefit. Yes, and there is more, Dr. Nylox continued. They have asked what the treatment should be called. I suggested Davis therapy in recognition of your contribution. Isaac blinked in surprise. My contribution? You mean nearly dying? Dr. Nylox made the four-eyed blinking gesture that Isaac now recognized as laughter. Perhaps that is one way to view it. I prefer to think of it as your body teaching us something new about human physiology, a lesson that might not have been learned without your unique genetic makeup and our encounter with zeptilium oxide. Isaac turned back to the stars, processing this unexpected turn of events. My grandfather died from complications of hypertension when I was in college. He would have appreciated the irony that his grandson's genetic quirk led to a better treatment. In my culture, we believe that knowledge passes through bloodlines in more ways than just genetics, Doctor. Nylox said quietly, perhaps your grandfather's struggle lives on in this discovery. The two stood in comfortable silence for several minutes, watching as the ship moved ever closer to their destination. You know, Isaac finally said, when I signed up for this mission, I thought the greatest discovery would be what we found at Proxima Centauri. I never imagined that one of our most important findings would come from inside my own veins. Dr. Nylox nodded thoughtfully. That is the beauty of exploration, Engineer Davis. We set out to discover new worlds, but often discover more about ourselves in the process. As the Stellar Voyager continued its journey through the vastness of space, Isaac reflected on the strange path that had led him here from a dangerous spike in blood pressure to a medical breakthrough that would help millions back on Earth. The collaboration between human and alien had created something neither could have achieved alone, a pattern that seemed to define their mission and perhaps the future of interspecies relations. 1 year after his medical emergency, as the Stellar Voyager established orbit around their destination planet, Isaac received a message from Earth. The Davis therapy had been administered to over 2 million hypertension patients worldwide, with remarkable success rates. His grandfather's name had been added to the therapy's official title, the Davis-Mendez Protocol, ensuring that both grandfather and grandson would be remembered for their contribution to human health. Standing on the observation deck with Dr. Nylox and Dr. Chen, watching the first landing party descend to the surface of the exoplanet, Isaac felt a profound sense of connection. Here they were, at the edge of human exploration, while back home, a piece of their journey was already helping those they'd left behind. First steps on a new world, Doctor. Chen said, watching the landing craft touch down on the planet's surface. A new understanding of our own, added Dr. Nylox. Isaac nodded, thinking of the unlikely chain of events that had brought them all here. A dangerous alien compound, a genetic quirk, a spike in blood pressure, and a simple human response. That's hypertension. Some of the greatest discoveries, it seemed, came from the most unexpected places, even from within. As humanity reached for the stars, they continued to learn about themselves, their bodies, and their place in a vast and diverse galaxy. The journey outward was also a journey inward, each new world offering not just its own secrets, but reflections of the explorers themselves. As the mission continued, and the crew established the first research base on the exoplanet, Isaac divided his time between engineering duties and occasional visits to the medical bay, where Dr. Nylox continued to study the unique interactions between human physiology and alien environments. Their collaboration had expanded beyond the hypertension treatment to include other potential medical applications, creating a new field that bridged human and alien medicine. 5 years after the Stellar Voyager's departure from Earth, as the first colonists prepared to join them at Proxima Centauri, Isaac received another message from home. His younger brother had been diagnosed with hypertension, the same genetic predisposition that had nearly killed Isaac. But unlike their grandfather, he wouldn't face a lifetime of daily medication. The Davis-Mendez protocol had given him a simple monthly treatment with no side effects. That evening, Isaac sat in the colony's newly constructed observation dome, watching the twin moons of their new world rise over the horizon. Dr. Nylox joined him, carrying 2 containers of their respective preferred beverages. "To new worlds and new understandings," the alien physician said, raising his container in a gesture he had learned from his human colleagues. Isaac smiled and raised his own drink. "And to high blood pressure, which nearly killed me but ended up saving countless lives, Doctor." Nylox's 4 eyes blinked in amusement. "Perhaps in the future, when humans encounter a new medical condition, they will say, 'Your blood pressure is sky high,' and the response will be, 'That's a Davis moment.'" Isaac laughed, the sound echoing in the dome as the stars of a distant solar system shone down on a world where humans and aliens worked side by side, learning from each other's differences and finding strength in diversity, a small outpost of cooperation in a vast and largely unknown universe, but a beginning nonetheless. "To Davis moments then," Isaac said, "and to whatever we discover next." As the colony grew and thrived over the following years, that spirit of discovery and collaboration remained at its core, a legacy born from a single moment of crisis, when an alien doctor had observed a dangerously high reading, and a human engineer had given it a name. In that simple exchange, 2 worlds had found common ground, a pattern that would repeat countless times as humanity reached further into the stars, carrying with them not just their dreams and ambitions, but their vulnerabilities and imperfections as well, all equally valuable in the grand tapestry of interstellar cooperation. The legacy of the Davis-Mendez protocol extended far beyond hypertension treatment. It became a model for interspecies medical research, demonstrating how the unique physiologies of different species could inform and enhance healthcare for all. Research centers on Earth and other coalition worlds adopted the collaborative approach pioneered by Dr. Nylox and the medical team of the Stellar Voyager. Isaac Davis never returned to Earth. Like many of the original crew, he chose to make his home on the new world they had discovered. But his story traveled back across the light years, inspiring a new generation of explorers and scientists to look beyond their differences and find the universal connections that bound all sentient life together. And it had all begun with a simple medical observation: your blood pressure is sky high, and an equally simple human response. That's hypertension.